Police always want to get you in. What? What? I'm rockets. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, reppin' Friday 13th like Jason, without the killing. But we promote life, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting his portion, might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking. See the turning heads, whispering, gawking. But he's locked in, and he's zoned out while we boxed in our own house.
We study the mystics, the adepts, the magi. Wisdom of the ancients can all calcify eyes. Possible mission, free mental numbness. Extract the substance, rid minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport. As we know by being told, man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got bought. Placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. To dogma rituals, negro spirituals. Brainwash subliminal, keeps thinking to a minimal. They still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past writers' blocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through saw palms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the enemy serenades. Whether the sky is clear or gray, rain when you hear it fake, giving life to seeds, speaking through who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. And always look to these hoes like hallucinatory pimps. Sun walked the desert, been more ever since I found God. Look back, used to see his prince. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no jokey. Deny it, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of up fears. The sun gon' shine, so what tears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
This deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. This deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place at schools on blocks, inspired spots, filled spaces. Peel back, rats, who got cases? Fire stain the corridors of flemmo faces. Game changers, rule benders and no pretenders. Style lenders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses. Send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in. We on our verge, we emerge subliminal beings. Third eye seeing, still a participant unwilling.
They wanna break me, shape, bait, grade me. Rolling with my main G, double O-M-B. S-O-N is crazy for a minute that you think you could take me for a fool. Like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude. You've mistaken me, spiders on the roof. In the dark tools, I've been saying you've mistaken me. You better move or I mark it. My weapon is my tongue, your existence to target. Revealing all lies and deceit on the market. Genocide carried out in pockets, I knock it down, bulldozer. David to Goliath, it's an exposure. Some big cats ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall. Round up all your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters fragile as porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope is the DJ skill and some dope, just to keep us afloat. Mind as deep as the boat, brain is a lethal weapon. We want need to elope. When I speak, I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke under my Louis fitted the semi-poke. Cause dirty cops will kill your boy, you ain't a joke. The cost of living, higher profits in private prison. These little girls are selling bodies just to pay tuition. These little niggas selling niggas just for bail condition. It's like the slavery never ended, where's the intermission? I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and make one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and one plan.
Islam, peace and love, Moors, peace and love to listeners worldwide. I am Mizraim Aleph L. You are tuned in to MHHS Sons of Allah for the month of May 2018 Gregorian calendar, as well as we're here. Brother Cujo, Awo L, Sheik, what's going on, Moor?
Peace and love, Moor. Islam to all the Moors. We're back once again. Or we return.
Again.
Let's say. Return.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. So we're going to touch on a few things tonight. man, it's like it's crazy. I was speaking with my mother the other night, and I was like, man, I'm coming to the degree of realizing certain things is beyond what you call yourself is actually based in character. You know, because there are certain people who have, I mean, in their character, in their own right, who don't really know about their nationality. These are sincere people. Not that there's people who do know about their nationality that aren't sincere, but some of these people go on a power trip. They be ego tripping for real. I mean, real ego trips. And it's all about power for them, but it's ridiculous. So it's a few things and people we're going to touch on tonight. I try to refrain from, calling people out and all of these things, but it's necessary. The time has come where things have become necessary, and it's all right. So I've realized, though, that it's just some deep-rooted hatred, again, because certain people want positions of power and recognition and notoriety from multiple sources, though. So, man, I don't even know where to start because we got a few heads to roll tonight. And I mean that in a metaphysical way, not, just for the record, because these people play with those people. So what I'm saying is
quick interjection. Quick interjection, just as you said, because with regard to, the metaphysical speaking, there's people out here who call themselves Moors. They got RVBey and all that stuff, and they literally talk about, they're going to shoot somebody, and they're going to choke somebody, and they're going to physically do harm to people who play this game of, robbing people of their birthright or whatever. But you never hear these people say they're going to do something to a highwayman that's violating people's rights.
Exactly.
Never.
Right.
Do you hear say they're going to cause physical harm on the people who are causing physical harm to our people? Never. But as soon as active Moors start calling these people out for the frauds that they are, as soon as active Moors start putting these people on blast, now they want to show, they got hands and they can fight and they can do all this BS. So again, like Brother Miz is saying, this is not something that is initiated by us. When you hear us talk about dirty Moors or whatever, this is not something that we initiate, like we want to go at them because they're dirty. This is constantly either them approaching us with some BS or them just out there talking BS and somebody else who is for the cause recognizing that this stuff is going on and bringing it to our attention.
Right. Right. That's the thing. They never approach us. Like, they'll talk crazy on the internet, but they will not or have not approached us yet. And, it is what it is. So, it was, what was his appellation again? Pardon me, because I got so many appellations on my mind, but it was a specific young man who the video came to my attention today, and we were going to go in on this, and we still are, but he was talking crazy. And what I realized in this particular video, because this is what upsets me about people who try to play Taj, who try to play RVBey Publications, Great Seal, whoever, any Moors who've been putting in the work that's necessary for our people. What it is they'll listen to everybody, soak up knowledge, which is what you're supposed to do, but then flip it like they got some superior knowledge and you know, these people are irrelevant and wrong, you know, for what they're doing. And in this particular video, and we're going to do a live stream on it so we can play it back for you all and that you can hear this for yourself, the ridiculousness and this tough guy talk, because I'm tired of people, you know, I'm from this part of the world, so, you know, we can get it on and I'll smack somebody. Look, bro, I know the date of the video said 2017, but, you know, I'm telling you, like, run up and, you know, it is what it is. Self-defense is always on the table. But I know you're not going to do nothing. You're just talking tough for Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Because if you was, you wouldn't have said that on Facebook. So you're looking for notoriety. And you're downplaying, you know, teachers that came before you. And, you know, the reality is you're not going to do nothing. And it's not like people are, you know, jibbing people. Moor's been moving with their own documentation, meaning nationality cards, road travel cards, etc., right? There's nothing unconstitutional about that. Moor went into the state Supreme Court building last week with these documents, you know, these identification cards, and did not get rejected. So my thing is, you know, for these Negro-minded people who end up trying to justify the mistreatments or the abuses that highwaymen bestow upon our people as if it's RVBey Publications' fault, like that's totally, you know, asinine because and frivolous, because these are abuses that have been going on, documented since the 60s, that didn't stop. So when people come with a remedy to say, well, look, you know what I'm saying? You want to trap us with these, you know, documents like we were speaking earlier. It's really a lot to talk about when you talk about the fraud of a driver's license as a form of identification. It's not identification, just like, you know, your license to have a firearm is not identification. Your license to practice quote-unquote law, or your license to be a doctor. None of these things are identifications. Licenses are not identifications. So as a nation of Alodial, natural, true and living Moorish nation, or a nation of Moors, Americans, Almoroccans, Societas Republica y Almorocanos, all of this, you know, under that jurisdiction, we have the right to self-identify. I mean, people act like, you know, having your nationality card, your road travel card, and things like that is some foreign concept to freedom. Noble Drew Ali blatantly said that the 5 principles were love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice that Moors abide by. And when you look up freedom, it absolutely means self-determination. So that means that you get to determine for yourself if you're free, if you're mentally free, because like he mentioned, there's a lot of mental slaves. And this is a ramification or a symptom that you see when you see that, even with like the Morisco World Taharka dude, when he was trying to blame Taj, RVBey for Corinne Gaines getting murdered and all of this craziness. You know what I'm saying? This is totally frivolous, vexatious, slanderous, malicious statements that's coming from either one, agents or mental slaves, to even act like, because remind you, she never got, nothing happened at the traffic stop where she got murdered or anything. That wasn't the case. So what I'm saying is, when you could go that low, when these people have a blatant reputation of doing this to people, and pinpoint one and say, oh, well, you know, that's RVBey's fault. You know what I'm saying? When at the same time, the brother, I mentioned this before, Philando Castile got shot reaching for his driver's license. So the documentation isn't the issue. It's not the fact that you have, you know, a national identification card or even a driver's license. You know, these people, they don't care. They will, the way their modus operandi apparently on a larger scale, you know, or at least what they show through the news and social media is shoot first, ask questions later. So whether you have a nationality card or a state-issued driver's license or whatever, that's not the point when it comes to the threat of these people murdering you with impunity. So I say again that you see a sickness, pain that's going on of trying to heap all the sins of the world on RVBey and Taj, and I personally, I don't stand for it. You know, you can say what you want about either one of them, but the works that they've done and are doing is sincere, honest, and has uplifted many people more than the MST of A has in the past 20, 30 years. We're not here for comparison, but this is where the jealousy comes in at, and these people start coming out talking about, oh, what's the point of having a right to travel card, and what's the point of, you know, do you claim your right to breathe? Do you claim your right to eat? This is the logic that they're trying to spew. But at the same time, making threats as if they'll do harm. Like, I dare you, you know what I mean, to act like you're going to put hands on one of ours and, you know, it ain't going to be no consequences for that. There will be consequences on the spot if that was to happen, on the spot. No third parties, no none of that. So I'm just saying, you know, we're not summonsing that, but if you feel that you want to jump and do that, all right, you know what I mean? You know what time it is. We will stand on self-defense without an issue. And we're not promoting violence. I'm just letting you know. You put that in the universe. I don't know if he was talking about us specifically in that regard, but trust me, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. And what I'm saying on top of that is, you know, these are supposed to be members of the Moor Science Temple or whatever, you know, looking for notoriety through Facebook, through YouTube, whatever, you know. And the reality is, look, if you people don't feel in your heart that you're ready to have your nationality card, that you're ready to, you know, move in the world with it, to move in society with it, then don't get it. Leave it alone. You know what I mean? Because don't come crying if you're challenged on it. We've been challenged before, and, you know, there's been no problems. So, like I said, Moors walked into the Capitol State Building solo, dolo, with the national identification card and didn't get rejected as if it's some fraud form of identification. Moors have walked into federal courts with their national identification cards, same ones we have, and haven't been rejected or denied as if it's a void instrument. That hasn't happened. We don't know what you're talking about. So, you know, these are things that have been utilized in civil society, you know, for the betterment of themselves, their families, and their quality of life. Now, do people waver and give up once they get challenged? That's on them. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to stand for what's right in your nationality, then don't be wavering and, you know, blaming somebody else when the challenge comes. You know who the adversaries are. You know who your adversary is. So if they challenge you or want to test your chin, don't come back blaming us. It's like, you know, that one person who gets beat up on a fair one, and then they go back and tell everybody they got jumped, and that never happened. You just couldn't hold your own, and you got lumped up, but you're too ashamed to admit you got lumped up. Just hold your L. You didn't know what you was doing. Or they had, you know, overpowered you in that particular situation. Maybe that's how you felt. That was the result. But don't come back blaming, because, mind you, they'll take your quote-unquote driver's license, not suspend it, literally take it from you. So that's still a violation if you believe that that's your form of identification or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Still in all, that's still a violation. So it's not the actual form of identification. It is the violations that we need to look at when it comes to these things that are not ours, our own actions, shall I say. Because when you look at the Universal Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, indigenous people have the right to their own identification, self-determination, etc. So y'all can totally miss us with that. And another thing, they try to make this divisive distinguishment. This particular video, I'll let you call his appellation out. I'm going to call a few tonight. But in this particular video, they're playing this divisive role as like, oh yeah, well, because this is how you know, MST of A, if you're in the MST of A or not, a lot of them play this divisive game like, oh, we're MST of A Moors, and all other quote-unquote Moors are not real Moors because they're not dealing with Noble Drew Ali's Moor science. And if they was, why wouldn't they be in the temple? Well, damn, the same people in the temple sold Noble Drew Ali out, so don't act like that's the standard. You know what I'm saying? It was people in the temple who sold him out while he was alive. So I'm not impressed with you claiming that, you're holier than thou because you attend the temple every day. I know some people who believe in quote-unquote Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And they're more honorable than the ones that are going to the church, if at all. So you're not going to utilize a brick and mortar as a standard of somebody's faith, belief, or knowledge, or what they can bring into fruition in this life. You could totally miss me with that, see, because that's language for followers. You understand? That's language for followers. Followers have to have something to latch on to. You know what I'm saying? But if you got the message stepped out on his word in the world, you know how to trailblaze, etc. So that's the difference. Followers are like, oh yeah, you don't believe in God. You didn't attend church on Sunday, and you wasn't at the mosque, and you was hungry and couldn't hold your fast. You're not a true believer, and all of this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying I'm not encouraging anybody to break any tenets, but I'm just saying that we're not going to utilize that as a standard of somebody's quality of character. That is for those who don't know any better and are easily persuaded, because you already know a lot of our people are looking for something to belong to, and regardless if the temple exists or not, they still belong to the Moorish nation. And when we say that, we mean themselves, their own people. It is their birthright. This is not a club. You know what I'm saying? This is not something that expires. So, if you're not into that, I don't know what to tell you. But again, I say that because they're like, oh, yeah, well, Moor isn't a nationality. It's a phenotype opposed to a nationality. And, you can't be Moroccan. There's a Moroccan flag and then there's a Moorish flag, when the ridiculous lies in the fact that Noble Drew Ali laid out the message for these same people who are saying this, that you're Moorish Americans because you're descendants of Moroccans born in America. And then if you look at the Moorish literature, he goes in on think this over, you Moors. He didn't say think this over, you Moorish Americans. He didn't say think this over, you Muslims. He didn't say think this over, you attenders of the temple every Sunday or Friday or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He said think this over, you Moors. And then he goes in, all sheiks, grand sheiks must prepare for the prophet before he comes to visit them. Must see to it that all is clean and in perfection as far as comfort is possible, or otherwise don't arrange to have his presence. All members should pay from 25 cents to 50 cents weekly toward the emergency fund. Now, remind you, at this time, you know what I'm saying, 25 cents, 50 cents in real silver or gold was a lot. You know what I mean? It wasn't a light contribution. Because now we're dealing with alloy metals as far as 25 cent, 50 cent goes. So, I'm just saying that because he said this fund will increase so that it will soon amount to the grand sum of 1,000. That is, if you are loyal Moors, not loyal members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, not loyal, believers of Jesus, not anything else, loyal Moors. So I'm saying that to say that, don't try to make this distinction of, oh, well, they're claiming to be Moors, not Moorish Americans, so they're not real Moors type of, it's ridiculous. It is very ridiculous, you know, and to try to utilize that as a measurement of who's real Moors and who's not is folly. It shows that you're not. Because if you're saying that Noble Drew Ali's position was we're Moorish Americans, not Moors, well, damn, his literature says something very contrary to that, because he's talking to Moors about thinking this over, you know? So, again, also in the, what was it? I think it was Message to America. He's utilizing the word Moors, those who built, you know, the Alhambra, all of these things in the historical context. So he was bringing this information to Moors. And I'm not knocking whether you claim to be Moroccan, Moor, Moorish American, you know, American, Al-Moroccan. Damn, we're all the same people. Like, it's the same thing, you know. So, again, you got people who are trying to make these divisions based off of folly, you know. And when we understand nationality, that it really does determine your political status, on top of the fact we're indigenous to North America, then that means we have the highest political status. And if you think otherwise, then maybe you need to be up under the 14th Amendment that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali told you wasn't necessary, because you're speaking as if that's the jurisdiction you're under. And if you are, then so be it. But don't try to impose that on all other Moors as if, you know, Moors are supposed to be acting as if they're subjected to corporate jurisdictions, whether that be, you know, U.S.A., state of, whatever. You know, we're talking natural law. So naturally, you know, the people have the right to self-determination, because in all reality, all of these institutions was instituted for who? The people, the protection of the people. And what? When any of them become destructive to the ends or the means of their freedom, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. Facts. So with that being the case, you know, don't play games with us like, you know, we are radical and all of this, like, based off of your belief of the MST of A doctrine. And I have nothing against it like that. But the people that are in it, that are speaking crazy, I do have something against that. So, you know, this dude, Tunica Bay, who's talking crazy about, you know, being from West Baltimore, and he'll smack somebody like, bro, we're not afraid of where you're from. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to the whole Be More, etc. But, like, come on, bro. None of that is scaring anybody. And honestly, what he was saying doesn't really even apply, because it's just a slanderous, it's like it's become a fad. If you want notoriety, you know, this Taj, this RVBey, this who, whatever more is doing good on Facebook, you know, if you want notoriety and acceptance from strangers or whoever, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying that fad is getting whacked and played out. So I know we're going to have to address some of those things on a more frequent and open basis, because it's just getting ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's getting very ridiculous. But again, you know, nobody over here is jibbing anybody. Again, I advise, if you're not ready, and the disclaimer is on the website, like, don't sign up for any, like, don't try to acquire any of these things if you yourself are not sure. We're sure. We've had personal experience where there's no fuss about the nationality card. There's no fuss about the road travel card, etc., because you can use it for multiple things. So I don't know what these people's experience is like. If you're coming down there feeling entitled and you know, you're acting like a Negro and feel entitled because you have the card, then yeah, maybe you are getting sent back because you're in dishonor. You're not in the 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Whether we're in and out of the temple, that's the foundation that we're moving on. Whatever we do, nationally, politically, etc., publicly, like, we're in those principles. So you know, if you're not and you just came out of a situation and you feel like, you know, because this is what pissed me off sometimes is that people be knee deep in Negro type cases. And when I say that, I mean, you know, in the aspect of not knowing themselves, being in their lower self, that's been their reputation for years. Then they find out about the information of Moors via RVBey publications, because there's not MST of A temples like that teaching on law like that. You know what I'm saying? So usually they do find out through, you know, sincere allodial Moors. And what happens is they still get jammed up because their reputation has been something else for so long that they feel like, you know, this is their rock and shield, which is not a wrong thought, but you got to understand, you know, work out your personal problems, clean up your personal records. You know what I'm saying? Before you jump into this and just act like, oh, everything is fine and well, I don't have to address anything from the previous. You know what I'm saying? And when it don't work, you're like, oh, well, you know, that's RVBey Publications for, that's Taj for, whoever. Like, cut that out, man, because y'all know y'all be doing some BS before you even acquire these things. You acquire these things after you done did the BS. So I'm just saying that to say that, you know, you can't, I don't know of a Moor who knew about their nationality and birthrights and ultimately had the unfavorable reply. Yes, there's challenges and things of that nature, but my goodness, you know what I'm saying? From my experience, what I've seen, what I've witnessed, you know, I know that the end result always comes out the most favorable for Moors that know what they're doing or talking about or presenting or exhibiting. Those who, you know, come in and they're not firmly planted, anybody could pluck you off, you know what I mean? And it's just like that. So don't think it's not. That being the case, those were two things I wanted to mention from the beginning. You know, the disclaimer is on the website. Don't talk about you got jib because, you know, you utilize your nationality card and somebody discriminated on you, and now you blaming everybody else because you've been discriminated on. You know what I'm saying? It happens. It's people with military IDs who get discriminated on, and Moors in the same place don't. So you know what I'm saying? Don't play games with us like that's some type of standard of, you know, this is their fault, RVBey's fault. So yeah, I wanted to speak on that. There's some other things I want to touch on, but before I transition into that, and I'm going to call names on this next segment, did you want to say anything about who we was just talking about or the aspect of that energy?
Islam, Moor.
Islam.
One of the things with regard to, you know, this age of people could just upload stuff is just like if you are skeptical of a sister or a brother, you're going to check their baby pictures, make sure that they're really born that. Same thing you have to do with these people that just like to upload stuff and check who they learn from. And a high percentage of the time, the individuals who have something to say negative about RVBey Publications, Taj Bey, whoever else of the master teachers, even talking BS about Ku Joel, you have to come to the realization that either at one time they were down with these same people and now they're disgruntled, or who they learned from was down with these same people and now they're disgruntled. Now, you know, it's frivolous things why they're disgruntled. You know, they never got a book that they ordered. You know, something they ordered took long. You know, some BS. It's never any real legitimate reason for them to hate. This individual that we're talking about Miguel Tunica Bay, you know, Baltimore Moor guy. His so-called Grand Sheik, as he says, is RVBey. Now, I put it on the record out there numerous times that there would be no Canaan land if it wasn't for RVBey. Because he's the one that introduced me to the Moors in Mecca that gave us our charter. One of the things that I've never talked about is the 2 years of letters that I was in correspondence with RVBey's brother. Now, this is one of the letters, and we're just going to take some excerpts out of it. This is dated January 11th, 2008. This is how the guy in the video who's talking BS, this is how his Grand Sheik's brother talks to Cujo. Just so when you hear people talk BS about Cujo, just remember, January 11, 2008, where were these people at talking BS? Islam Grand Sheik, I greet you in the supreme spirit of wisdom, will, and love, and pray that all is well for you and the rest of the Moorish brothers and sisters. All is truly well with the multitude here. Brother, I've just received the package of information that you sent us. For some devilish and satanic reason, Rome held it back for 2 months. It seems to me that your lessons are sending a very unpleasant thrill throughout the ethers. Whatever the case may be, I am very thankful for the lessons. Before I continue to write, I must first say that it was truly a blessing to press your flesh and look into the face of Allah. I cannot recall a time that my heart rejoiced at such a rate as it did on that day. And since then, I have certainly been on high and in harmony with yourself. Take note to this paragraph right here. Remember, this is the same individual talking BS, giving honors to his Grand Sheik for being honorable and all that stuff. Well, this is his Grand Sheik's brother talking.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to hear that you enjoyed the Moor's Order of the Round Table package by Brother Taj Tariq Bey. The brother is obviously a true scholar of the Holy Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Over the years, I have read a lot of different lessons by the brother. I do not know the brother personally, but I can imagine that he is of good Moorish character. The Holy Prophet Jew Ali instructed us to suspect not evil until thou see it, and when thou see it, forget it not. The stuff that these people are talking against the master teachers is that evil that you better forget not. The disrespect that these people are laying down on people who put their life on the line to make sure you got a birthright right now. After all these people sold you out, whether they're black leaders, Moorish leaders, whatever, after all these people sold you out, after all these people took finance from Jews, took finance from U.F. Corporation, took finance from IRS, took finance from whoever to keep you a dumb nigger that you are right now. Just because of these people give you paper nationality cards with no picture, no date of birth, no eye color, no hair color, just give you a piece of paper, tell you that's your nationality card, have you going out there showing that like a jackass, thinking that that means you got an identity.
Right, right.
And then they're talking BS about these people who labored day and night. Labored day and night. Not just labored the daytime, labored at night to make sure that once you put in RVBeypublications.com, something's coming up. and it's coming up, and it's extensive. You go on there, you know some people put some work into that to make that be what it is right now. You go to any of these Moorish Science Temple websites out here, and you compare that to RVBey Publications website. You take any of these Grand Sheik, whoever they are, that wrote a book out here, and you put that next to the sturdy books that RVBey wrote, and you tell me who's real and who's the clowns. If you're sincere, it would be very obvious to you, just like the brother's saying, it's very obvious that RVBey is a true scholar of the Holy Prophet Noble Jew Ali. This is a Grand Sheik talking. This is a Grand Sheik that's a brother of a Grand Sheik that's talking BS about RVBey. How's the brother of the Grand Sheik of the guy who's talking BS is in favor of RVBey, but the Grand Sheik is not against his brother, who recognizes RVBey as a scholar? Isn't that a contradiction? Isn't that hypocrisy? How is it that this individual is going to be in videos talking BS about RVBey Publications and they're selling stuff and RVBey, he doesn't know what he's teaching people and all that stuff, but this individual's Grand Sheik was with us when we went to North Carolina, and we did the lecture with Setenra Bey, Aleem Bey, myself, and RVBey. How come he didn't have nothing to say then? How come they only taught their BS when they're in their little chambers called Moorish Science Temple? Or when they're on their little BS conference calls?
Right.
How come they sat there at the restaurant with us, broke bread with RVBey, and they didn't have anything to say? Nothing? But then when they're not in these people's face, oh, they got something to say. They always have something to say when they're not in people's face. And we got, there's letters from 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, just because me and the Moor were dialoguing through the mail, back and forth, for years, not months or whatever, for years. Every single time that you hear somebody come out of their mouth and say anything bad about RVBey Publications, MHHS, RVBey, know that these people do not have your best interest at heart. There's no way. There's nobody could say anything. Like we talked about a couple classes ago. Grand Sheik contacted me. This Moor been in the temple since the 50s. He been in the temple. Since the 50s he been in the temple. He stepped down as Grand Sheik because of all this corruption that these people are doing under the name of Moorish Science Temple. Why? Because he went and sat with all these people personally to hear them talk BS about RVBey. Just hurt this Moor, this elder, to the point where he stepped down because he knows what RVBey has been doing for not just the movement, but for Moors, for other Asiatics, for whoever. He was so disgusted. He was so disgusted that he shut his temple down because he said, there's no way that I'm going to be playing around with these corrupt individuals that call themselves more science anything right now if they're going to talk BS about RVBey. No way they can talk BS about him. Who the hell do these people think that they are? These are more from the 50s. He's been in the temple. And we're coming around today. We're talking today about individuals talking about they're going to go on Facebook, they're going to make videos talking about stop letting these Moors steal, bringing up RVBey publications, bringing up RVBey, but he's not going to bring up his own Grand Sheik who was selling charters and probably still is selling charters for 250 notes. I know personally people who got sold charters by RVBey, who's a Grand Sheik of Moor Science Temple in America. Right, because, they don't want to have no beef or whatever like that. They don't want to cause no problem, so, don't say their name and all that stuff. Okay, no problem. This is what you're up against.
Right.
You're dealing with conniving, backstabbing bastards out here that has fezzes on and turbans on. That have no sense of unity. That was another thing that they were talking about. We don't need this unity thing. Why are we doing unity? What do you mean why you got unity? You got a Holy Covenant talking about unity.
Exactly.
How you went on Facebook, you're talking about you're against unity. You don't want to deal with no unity or whatever like that, but you're talking BS about other Moors?
Right. Exactly. I'm glad you brought that out because there was a couple points that slipped my mind once I saw this other note. But yeah, that's ridiculous. Like to have a nationality but no unity doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like then why don't you just be your lone wolf then? You know what I'm saying? These are the people that end up making the DIE list and all of that because what did they say? They said, yeah, a lot of them are lone wolves. You know what I'm saying? That's how they categorize them. That's how they isolate them and then say, these are lone wolves who are radicalized, et cetera, et cetera. Now I get it. I feel like in a sense I wouldn't want to unify with a dude like him anyway. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want that, then go where you do you in West Baltimore, wherever you at, you know what I'm saying? And be selfish. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But don't act like
I'm sorry to cut you. It's just like when we say with the trolls. You're gonna come on our YouTube page or whatever like that, talk BS about you don't like what we teach and you don't like. They get the fuck out of here then. What the hell are you doing on our page? Like, why are you on here? Why are you making comments on our stuff if you don't care about what we're teaching or whatever? Like, what are you doing on here? Why are you listening to our classes and then you're commenting some BS? How about you just go over in your corner over there and stay over there? We don't need you to make no comment. And then get mad, then talk BS when Moors tell you go F yourself and go suck something or whatever else Moors tell you because, like, we can't do like the Klan and just put a roper on your neck and hang you from a light pole around here, unfortunately. We can't do that. So Dirty Moor is going to be here talking BS. That's just what it is. They're going to be here. Why? Because the universal law says that there has to be balance. There's never going to be, even amongst good Moors, like we were talking about last week. The site got, or earlier in the week, the site got shut down for 24 hours. People telling other people, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Just bring your proclamations to us. We'll deal with them for you.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a charge for all those soldiers out there who don't have a foe. All those Moors out there, well, it's just me. What do I do? How about go beat up on some of these dirty Moors out here talking BS about your birthright? How about that? Instead of claiming just you and you can't do anything, and what am I going to do? How can I help? You know how you can help? Go strangle some of these dirty Moors. How about that? How about put the bat to some of those Moors' kneecaps since they want to talk BS about your master teachers, who you know because you went through the fire yourself to know that whatever your master teachers put on you, that stuff is real because you went through the fire and came out the other end unscathed. So anybody talking BS about your master teachers, you should be defending that. Anybody. You should have something to say. You can't be mute. You should take it like somebody said some BS about your mom when they talk about your master teachers. You should look at it like that. Somebody threw your mom under the bus, and you're cool with it. You're not doing nothing about it. You're just going to, oh, well, you know, Moors, you know, well, you know, we're learn to love instead of hate and all that BS. You better to take that love and do something with it.
That's right.
Because everybody knows. Nobody could tell me that they never received tough love before. So don't tell me about love is some smooth, silky, or whatever. Love is a dirt road with potholes too. Love is a spiked bat too. Love is a belt to your ass. And like we're saying, like we can say whatever, but we know that these people are not going to stop playing. They're going to keep playing. And there is nothing of, you know, not deal with them because, you know, we have better stuff to do. We're doing the better stuff to do. Like, it's not like, you know, these people rear their ugly head and we're stopping what we're doing to deal with them or whatever. The work continues. They know. It's just like when we say with, you know, what are we going to do? How about write a book or something? They got mad stuff that we could do as Moors to get this word out to our people. You don't need 500 Moors around you for you to be somebody in the Moorish movement. You don't need to be a leader of a group of Moors for Noble Drew Ali's platform to apply to you. You could be a lone ranger where you are. Still do what's supposed to get done.
That is true. That's also true. Yeah.
But this is where it comes in again to, you know, individuals looking at what others are doing and, you know, not realizing that the ones that are doing good, those are the ones that you're supposed to emulate. You're supposed to be a copycat of the ones that are doing good. Like we use the example all the time. If RVBey publication is so against Moorish Science Temple of America, there wouldn't be a Canaan Land Moors page. Dumbass.
Facts.
If Noble Drew Ali's teachings are so wrong or whatever, they wouldn't have a Noble Drew Ali tab for you to go click that to find out about Noble Drew Ali. And again, with this, you know, we use Brother Broderick, Brother Jonathan Bey, Brother Jamal, Brother Jeremy Bey. Like these Moors who they just came about a couple years ago. They got their own stuff going on right now. You think that this is some joke or whatever? You got these Moors. If we take Brother RVBey, for example, this Moor was doing classes, just little YouTube videos or whatever. No fez, nothing like that. Just because, I know that I could get this message out to some people. When you look at him today, now he's building with some of the heaviest Moors out there that nobody knows about. He's got them on speed dial. You can call them up anytime. They be on the phone 8 hours just building, putting their pieces together amongst each other, which is that same unity that these Negroes are trying to tell you that they don't want nothing to do with. You take Brother Broderick, started his website, nomoredaily.com. He ain't got no website designer and all that stuff. All that stuff he did on his own. Why? Because, where his mind's at is a lane. And he knows that he can put some work in to assist in the work that's been going on before he was even on this info. You don't need no grand sheet to give him permission to do that. That's his own volition why he has that. Another one, Jonathan Bey. His own mindset. His own inspiration that he got from his own studying. His own inspiration made him put out MoorishDirectory.com. That website is heavier than any Moorish Science Temple of America website out there.
Facts.
That's one individual. These people got Grand Governor, Grand Sheik, Grand this, Grand that, Grand whoever, and they don't even have a website. Or they have a website and it's some BS, one page. You go to his website, you go nuts. You lose your mind on his website. Or you find your mind on his website.
Yeah.
Like you sit there and if you really stop and think about it, like, the things that is on MoorishDirectory.com, like, that's all him. Like, there's no other people's thoughts on that other than the links to the other people's website who he gives honors to. Other than that, all that stuff is his. Like, what? Yeah. He's studying from the same place that everybody else studying from. Where's everybody else's MoorishDirectory.com website? So we can really attract people to this. Because every single Moor, female, male, child, is a guiding light. Hence the newspaper being called Moorish Guideposts. Because that's what Moors do. Like, that's just what Moors do. Europeans got guided into knowing something, into taking showers. Europeans got guided by the Moors. Mm-hmm. The world got guided to Islam by the Moors. Anything that you say having to do with sciences, agriculture, commerce, whatever, introduced by the Moors. Chess introduced by the Moors. You name it. What were those things? Those things were guiding lights for the world. This is what Moors do. And when you have Moors, proclaimed Moors, telling you, you see those Moors over there that's doing good? Oh, those Moors are the dirty Moors. Know that those Moors talking BS are the ones that's dirty. off the top. You don't even need any credentials, any dirty Moor credentials from them to know they're dirty. You let them say some BS about RVBey or RVBey, know that they're dirty. And then if they don't say nothing about them, but they talk BS about Alima Bay, know that they're dirty. They talk BS about Kudro L, Canaan Land Moors, know that they're dirty. They talk BS about Journal of the Moorish Paradigm, Hakeem Bey, you don't know what he's talking about, CM Bey, or he was a Mason and all that type of stuff, know that these people are dirty. Immediately. You don't even have to second guess it. You don't have to think too hard about it. Just check the track record of who's been putting in the work. Like we're telling you, we've been around since 2008. Came into this, there was no dirty Moors like this. Like dirty Moors was a thing only in the literature.
Right.
Like there wasn't dirty Moors like how you see them today. There was no dirty Moors like this. 2008.
And
when you go to, even when we talk about go to Long Island University to go to lectures or whatever, all the black guys were in those lectures with Moors there.
Yeah.
It wasn't no debating nothing. They weren't debating nothing in 2008, 2009. There was no debate.
Exactly.
Now everybody's a great debater. Now everybody has some opinion about why they're not Moors and why they're where these people come from. Like we say again, where were these people 2008? Where were they? How come they weren't talking BS back then? Oh, because they were probably some dumb nigger somewhere. They weren't even on this info. Now, just like what Ms. was saying earlier, in order to gain popularity, in order to be somebody, you could just upload a video. And these people really think that, you know, you upload something and then now you're somebody because you uploaded something. When you go check, you know, well, what have they done? Where they live at? Forget you uploaded something. Like, what have you done? Let's go check, you know, even when we go back to that video with this Miguel clown, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting there the whole time, whole 37 minutes, he's sitting there pulling down on the neck of his sweater.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Pulling down on the neck of his sweater, right? Reminding me of the dumbasses who wear their pants off their ass and out of embarrassment, they're pulling their shirt down instead of pulling their pants up.
Hey, hold up. I got to add on right there. I was looking up some synonyms for the word liar. And one of them came back to a quote-unquote phrase that said, you know, when somebody is lying or a liar, one of the expressions you can say, hey, are you yanking my collar? You know what I'm saying? And when you just brought that to light, I noticed the body language. Well, you know what I'm saying? Yep. More so, he's coming from that divisive pseudologist energy. That's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Yet, you hear them use words like fiat, like Federal Reserve notes. Who gave you that language? Like, let's be real. Where did you learn that language from? You know you learned that from Taj, Roundtable, RVBey publications, and a list of other honorable Moors. So don't play games. And like you said, in that video, he called out or talked in a derogatory way about Alim Bey, Taj, yourself, RVBey publications, right? Which is why I know this is the when you went to the time frame of 2008, I forgot what year it was Alim and Seti did the debate, because I was going to say I never seen them debate a pilgrim before, but Seti is only the pilgrim to debate on that platform. You know what I'm saying? So like, because none of these people will debate a pilgrim or a European. Like Seti is like literally the only one on there, if you get what I'm saying. So when I think that when you look at that time frame, you know what I'm saying, they are, I guess they're mad. I don't know what it is, you know, because they didn't have no chance to rep. And if you pay attention again to the time frames, a lot of these people started feeling a little bit more arrogant and cocky after the debate that happened a couple years ago in this decade with Reggie, right? After that, these people felt like, oh, we could take on anybody. But, like, really don't gas yourself, because if the top scholars, quote-unquote, or students, shall I say, let me say students of the master teachers came out, you know what I'm saying, they will take all of these people's heads metaphysically. But I'm like, you don't get no props for washing Reggie in the debate. Reggie was retarded before the debate. Everybody knew that. And it's like, you know what I'm saying, whenever you ask somebody, you know, what is a man's nationality, and their response is, oh, he's the Sultan. That's his nationality is Sultan. You know he's incompetent to debate. If it was court, right, the court would have declared him incompetent to stand trial. Now, I'm not taking nothing away from it. Reggie, any more could have watched Reggie. And you know, the fact that he was arrogant enough in his ignorance to try to act like he could take on Moors in his simple concepts, you know, he deserved to get publicly washed. He did deserve that. But I'm just saying, I don't co-sign any of that, but don't think that you could take it there, you know what I'm saying, because, you know, Taj wouldn't argue with the fool. When Taj realized he was talking to a fool, what did he do in wisdom? He said the conversation is over, because everything else would have been embarrassing a fool. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't get props for that, and that doesn't give you a notch up. Publicly, yeah, he needs to get watched because he was talking crazy about Moors. But, like, in the format, any more would be able to watch these people up who are just talking crazy on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Or Facebook or whatever, you know? And it's crazy because you mentioned, I didn't want to cut your wisdom, but I just wanted to add that on in the fact that a lot of people, because you were saying, like, where was these people at? And what you realize is a lot of these people never really had real social experience in real life. Like, their social experience is based off of social media, where anybody could exist and never ever land. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, when they come, what are they coming with? Facts? Are they putting facts on the table, or are they just running their mouth? It's a difference in the presentation. So, yeah, Moor, I didn't want to cut your wisdom, but for certain, you know, when you look at that and that body language of pulling your collar down, it just reminded me of being a liar, bro. You know what I mean? Especially when you're talking about some violence and all of this. You're supposed to be a Noble Drew Ali follower, and really they're not even followers of Noble Drew Ali. They're idol worshipers. You understand what I'm saying? Yep. These are idol worshipers. You feel me? So we could go down the list of all the prophets that ended up being idly worshipped and never, you know, heeded for really going out on the message that they brought. Because even like Muhammad fulfilled the prophecies or teachings of Yahshua, right? Okay, Yahshua didn't get it all done in his lifetime, but he laid down a beautiful foundation, which Muhammad came to fulfill behind him. So there's always prophets that's going to fulfill those who came before them. You understand? So even though that's the case, like, we have to distinguish the two between who's doing the works and bringing fulfilling results between those who are idly worshiping these people. Because just like people say they love Noble Drew Ali, and, you know, those ain't the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. This is their position when it comes to RVBey publications and Taj. While, you know, RVBey publications, we are doing the work, you know what I'm saying? you have those who are still in idol worship mode when it comes to Noble Drew Ali. So they're idly worshiping him just like they did Jesus. You know, those who are under the spell of being followers when he came to make you leaders, but instead they want to be followers, right? And they'll argue you up and down that Jesus is the only way. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, Jesus was a European. You've seen the clip. They showed it on Good Times. You know, Mama couldn't believe that he had skin like, hair like lamb's wool and feet of burnished brass, and, you know, until she got shown, like, and then she was like, oh, well, it is in there. You know what I'm saying? But that was a real mentality that existed amongst our people. They lack knowledge, and they get caught up in commonalities. And what happens is the commonality takes precedence, and these are the people who remain in followership, or like they say, the deaf, dumb, and blind. You know what I mean? Because they don't even really see the message, which was given to make you a leader amongst yourself and others. Like, you know, now I don't want to say others, but to make people competent. The real fact, bro. That is the real fact. So, you know, when you look at it from a rounded perspective, yeah, these people didn't exist, and then the social media wave kicked off, and you know, you got a bunch of opinions from people who, like we said the other night, never sat through a class. You know what I'm saying? They never soaked up any wisdom in real life, or, you know, talked to Moors for hours after class. Like you be like, damn, the class was long. The class was like 3, 4, 5 hours. And then you got like another 2.5 outside because nobody want to leave the energy. You know what I'm saying? And they never experienced that. Everything they experience is from a digital perspective, so they never felt that vibration in real life.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's a way different in real life. So they can't distinguish the two. And then they formulate a digital opinion, which, you know, of course, from their perspective, they don't know anything else. So they got something to say, which, you know, it is what it is. But you got to understand those who actually had the real life experience of learning in a classroom, you know, from master teachers, versus those who are sitting back in their couch or on their chair. And the way we're doing it now, of course, these are good things, but they haven't had the experiences, which makes it different between the type of people you're talking to. So, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. A lot of people, because we talked about it earlier too, even when it comes down to the driver's license, and, you know, people like, well, what you need a road travel car for? And Moors was getting done dirty. You know what I'm saying? Hit a rough patch in life, and then, you know, they suspend your license. Now, you know, you're not only locked up for something else, they hit you with the license charge and all of this that, you know, never really sticks, but, you know, you start to realize, like, hold up, y'all set me up for a portal of servitude and slavery. It doesn't even make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes zero sense. And again, I got to clarify, I'm not saying anybody shouldn't support their child, but I'm saying, and I gave you this example earlier, not that you didn't know, but just like we were speaking on in the context of, let's say you got the perfect example of what people would call a good, hard-working brother, right? He got the best job in town, you know what I'm saying? He had his job or job 10, 15 years, you know what I'm saying? This is basically all he knows at this point in life if he didn't take other routes in preparations. But he's committed to what he's been a part of. Then, you know, one day the business says, yo, we closing down. We got to lay you off. But he's on, let's say he been on child support. He's 10 years in. He's feeling secure at his job. He you know, he's like, okay, well, you know, let's start the family now. It's that time. And he loses his job. Now he can't make child support payments if something goes wrong, right? So he ends up now not only under financial stress, and don't get me wrong, this could happen to sisters. I'm not being biased. But under those financial stresses after time, he's not making child support payments, right? Now, because he's missing those payments, they will suspend his license. Right? Does that make this man a bad man because he couldn't do it because he hit a rough patch in life? Or, you know what I mean, does that make them right, quote unquote, because he couldn't do it and then suspended his license? Now, if this particular man wakes up to the fact like, yo, hold on, I'm being duped by this driver's license system because I'm not a bad person and there's no way my quote unquote license should be suspended because I can't achieve this other obligation in life. If he's under the impression that this is the instrument he needs to achieve these other obligations, taking that from him, the wrong thing to do, you telling me that's the right thing to do? And if he says, no, there's something wrong with this picture, and says, no, we're pushing back on this oppression coming through utilizing this driver's license. You telling me he's he's a radical when they're crunching his life at that particular point? Now, that was just an example or a scenario, but reality is, you know, ab initio, all of these things are dealing with birthrights. You feel what I'm saying? Because he does have the right to travel, whether he's under financial stress, you know, whether he has a job or not. If the consent is there and the opportunity is there and the means are there, then, you know, that's definitely a birthright. But, you know, for people who may not understand or understand, people go through real experiences in real life. And, you know, there is remedy even through what seems to be an ugly part of their experience. You get what I'm saying? So when people are going through things relative to that as well, and then you add on this aspect of the driver's license instrument and them willing to suspend it for any reason, you know what I'm saying, and then be irrational with you about it. Because honestly, I know a sister who she had everything in order and they still took everything from her. You feel what I'm saying? Left her on the side of the road and things like that with everything. So what I'm saying is, you know, you can't come at us with a specific ideology that, oh, because you're teaching the right to travel, which is a birthright, which is a right that's been well established before we even existed. Because remind you, when you're talking about institutions who do that, these are all what they call departments of motor vehicles. And the Department of Motor Vehicles have nothing to do with engines, which mostly every quote-unquote car or conveyance operates off of. Engines, not motors, Moorish scientists. So what I'm saying is you can't fault a people because they don't have a division of engine vehicles. You feel what I'm saying? They have divisions of motor vehicles which only apply to corporate, you know, property and things like that. So I'm just saying, when you look at all the ramifications of the political, civil, and natural rights that people are enforcing, international rights, constitutionally secured rights that people are standing on, for you to speak down on that shows that you support that type of malefic, nefarious activity. Don't blame us. We see that you're just a part of the nefarious matrix. You know what I mean? And if you feel comfortable with that, that's you. But don't look at those who are like, nah, we have to do something about this. Like, it's not even, in certain cases, it's not even a want. People are like, yo, I have to do something about this. You know, don't speak down on them. You're not holier than thou. You're definitely not holier than thou. And none of those scenarios I just gave warrants anybody to lose any right, privilege, liberty, or even their freedom of being locked up or any of that. You understand what I'm saying? So either you up under this English law or you're dealing with American law or natural law, international law. And this is what we really have to distinguish, you know. So even when people speak down, you got to know where they're coming from or what, you know, because either they know and are being blatantly, you know, agents, or they are blatantly ignorant. And it's nothing like an arrogant and ignorant person. You feel me? That's what they call niggardly. You feel me? So, yeah, Moor, my fault. I just want
a quick one. Oh no worries, Moor. Just a good one on the arrogant ignorance. Now the same individual, he was out there, talking about he was talking about the unity thing. He's not with no unity, and then he made an analogy about you don't see a lion and a gazelle chilling or whatever. You know, something to that effect. You know what I mean? Lion's gonna tear up the gazelle or whatever like that. Now, this is in direct opposition to Noble Drew Ali and Moorish Science Temple, right? Because there's in the Adab lesson, there's 10 wonders of Noble Drew Ali, right? The camel, the pyramid, the fez, the handshake, the eye of Allah, crescent moon and star, circle 7, lion, the lamb, and the sphinx, right? And the story is that Noble Drew Ali traveled into Egypt, receiving our authority, agreeing to unify all to Allah by teaching Islam and Moorish science to the rich and the poor, returning them to the state of their ancient forefathers. Now that's all explained in the symbology on the charter of the Moorish Science Temple. And when Noble Drew Ali is talking about the idea of teaching Islam and Moorish science to the rich and the poor, the example that he used for the rich and the poor, or the symbology he used, was the lion and the lamb sleeping together in yonder hills, which is unity.
Exactly.
Now, Noble Drew Ali is going to teach you that a lion and a lamb could sleep in yonder hills together based on Moorish science being taught to them, the rich and the poor. How is it that this individual who has a grand sheik, so you know that he's a member of Moorish Science Temple, is going to tell you about forget unity? And tell you about we're not ready for unity yet. How are you not ready for unity when you give honors to a charter that exemplifies unity? Just the fact that the charter is sitting there on the wall is unity. Because that's a standard of all Moorish Science Temples of America, that they have a charter. Telling you what they want to tell you, have you thinking that they know what they're talking about and they know whatever, but they're keeping stuff away from you, and they're willingly keeping things away from you, because you already know that the more you begin to learn, the less you don't need these people claiming that, you know, you need them. The more you study, the more you realize how much snakes are in the grass. And the only reason snakes are in the grass is because the grass never been cut by these same people who love walking in tall grass. And they have no intention, zero intentions of this thing getting right. Which is why we tell Moors, find yourself a group of Moors, you better find yourself a body politic or whatever like that. Stop calling me talking about where there's a temple in our area and stuff like that. If there's no temple there, that should let you know the callous disregard for you having a temple that these people exhibit. How the hell are you telling me about 2018 ain't no temple in whatever quote-unquote city or state? What you mean there's no temple there? What do you mean? How is there no temple there? Why is there no temple there? When, again, you go read the literature, Noble Drew Ali said, hey, anybody want a charter? You get a charter. It ain't no big deal. How come these people got you getting warrants of authority and you got to jump through hoops and all that stuff to get a charter? Why are they playing this game with your stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Why they have chapter right there, magistrate and subject? You're the one who raised these clowns to sovereign power, and now they're taking their sovereign power and pretending like it's theirs when you gave it to them.
Right.
And when you realize that for playing you don't do anything. We tell Moors all the time. As soon as you start getting back to the mindset of your ancient foremothers and forefathers, there's going to be people trying to take you off of it immediately. Immediately. They're going to be about making sure that you're confused about something that you already studied and you should know, but because they say they're grand, whatever, they must know more than you. You know, they must have some secret book, some yellow book that they got in some chamber that you don't have, so you need to get the yellow book in order for you to know something about what Noble Drawley brought you. But Noble Drawley already told you what he brought you, and he laid it all out. Ain't no secrets. Zero secrets.
Right.
You think it's not Noble Drawley at work? Why? Yeah, you think it's not Noble Drawley at work? Why? You people are being blessed with the lessons that Dr. RVBey is talking about? Please. You think that's not Noble Drawley working? Like, do you understand that people have come into this information and they have stepped away because there's so much freaking corruption?
Yeah.
People going to the grave with this info. They said they're not even letting anybody know. That's how much dirty Moors are around. I would take this to the grave before I put this stuff out. That's how much dirty Moors.
Right.
Again, as soon as the sincere Moors, just like a sister called me today, same thing. Hey, I'm trying to find a temple. I got your number from, Jonathan Bay, and I'm trying to find a temple where I'm at, and I want to go there to learn. Go where to learn? What are you talking about? You want to go where to learn? You got RVBey publications, yeah. Got Blog Talk Radio, yeah. Canaan Moors, yeah. You got what do you want? What do you need? What do you need temple for?
Right.
Like, everything's there for you. Temple's not going to teach you those stuff that you're getting from Moreno Bay YouTube page. Ain't no temple teaching you that stuff. Guarantee you.
Facts.
Ain't no temple teach you how to 9 felonies. They ain't teaching that stuff there.
Word.
Right? The temple's going to teach you pay your taxes. Temple's going to teach you go get a license and do things that are contrary to your learning. Because this is your birthright. This is your right at birth. This is your right at birth.
Indeed.
And the right that you have at birth could only be taken away if you give it up. Your right at birth can only be taken away if you give it up. If you abandon it, that's the only way it could be taken. Or if you're trying to do some Negro BS under the guise of some Moorish. There's more science for us to do Negro BS. Not really. And these Europeans, they already know what's up. So don't think that you're going to pull no wool on them. If you heard some clown you never heard before, make a YouTube live or do a Facebook live and 500 people on there, and you're mesmerized because he has 500 people on his So he must know this stuff. And this person sit down there for 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, never showed you one book, never made one reference. All they do is just talk stuff. All they do is just talk. They never showed you one reference point. They never showed one book. They sat there for 30 minutes telling you about Moorish whatever, and they never showed you one. They never called a title of a book out. They never called an author out. All they call out is their grand sheik who taught them something, FOH.
Right.
That's all they got. Grand sheik only. That's it. You go talk to Bobby Hemmett. See how much books you get in 5 minutes. You're talking about some Moors. They're teaching you something. They never told you one book to go get. They never.
Right.
Oh, another thing that they were saying, you don't need to know any law. What?
Yeah. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Go ahead. Speak. It was
some Moorish American.
Right.
This is a Moorish American. This is somebody in Moorish Science Temple. This is somebody who sees you and says Islam, which means I self law and master.
Right.
Right. They're gonna tell you. They're gonna tell you I self Lord and master to try to get you to not deal with the law.
Can't even say you a nation. Yeah, because you can't do a Lord and escape law at the same time. Like, even if you go to Lord, you still got to deal with law. You know what I mean? Because there were laws.
And what is it? What we were talking about earlier, arrogant incompetence. These people know that they can't read. These people know that they're incompetent and they're illiterate. And opposed to fessing up and admitting, well, yeah, I'm illiterate, that's why I don't study law. They're going to make you think that law is bad or something.
Right. Yeah, because he said
thinking that you don't need to know law.
Yeah. No, because he said, yeah, we got talents and all of this and that, so I just want to utilize my talent and you know, I don't want to study law and use law for what? You know how many people got talents that everything they do is relative to law? Copyrights. But I'm saying all of these things, like, you know, contracts. You know, if you talking about you got a talent and that's why you don't want to study law, you will be the artist that ends up getting the boot up the ass in the end of the story because you didn't know law. And that's your problem. You feel me? Think about how many people signed contracts that got ripped, which is why even a lot of our people who do got talents, whether those be musical, lyrical, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, you know, a lot of them started going independent, quote unquote, in the same time frame you're talking about, Cool Joe, 2008 and up until now. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because it was a shift that happened, whereas, you know, the labels weren't paying them out like that anymore because everything basically went digital. You could just type in your favorite song and it's going to come up now. Or you could just purchase it on the internet. Therefore, you know what I'm saying, a lot of contracts went sour. People couldn't get their albums out because, you know what I'm saying, it was a new era of time. Not that they don't now, which is why you see the masterminds making their albums visual now. You know what I'm saying? So you get an album and they presenting it is every song got a video. That's wisdom in this day and age if you're going to present the CD. You feel what I'm saying? Other than that, they're saying, yo, go to iTunes. It's basically no label no more. There's no middleman, straight direct to consumer. So if you don't know law, bro, you know what I'm saying, and you're talking about you're going to exercise some talents, you will be sorely cheating yourself. Sorely. Because there's people with talents. I'm gonna say this so you can pick back up on that. But even look at an artist who has a talent like Papoose. Even with his artistry, this man was talking Moorish science and law. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, that's not an excuse to not know law. There's artists that do know law. You feel me? On multiple levels. Look at what just happened to T.I. the other night. You know what I'm saying? Whether he was drunk or not, he knew to challenge the policy enforcer. Like, yo, how you gonna lock me up in front of my own spot? Like, this is crazy. You feel me? So, yeah, don't if you do have talents, don't be that one who's bliss in ignorance. Like, I just got talent and, you know, I don't need to know law because, you know, at the end of the day, look what happened with so many artists at the end of the day. They end up, after they pass, they end up in quote-unquote probate courts and all of this, and it's some pilgrim European who's trying to determine their assets and all of this shit. So you can't give me no ignorance about, you know, I got talent, so I don't need to know law. You know, you're fooling yourself in that vein. And then, hold up, he also mentioned, he was like, yeah, well, you know, why claim the right to travel? Why claim the right to travel and all of these rights? Because you see other people come here and they don't do that. And I'm like, yo, fam, I think people miss the point. You know what I'm saying? That the other people that come here aren't us. They don't, because if the first matter at law is status, check it for yourself, for the record, Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary. Status means a state. So if people are coming from other places here and they're not making arguments, you know why they're not? Because they don't have the status to make arguments that Moors have. That's why we're making these arguments, among many other things, because he said, damn, it was so much BS he said, yeah, you hear them talking about personam jurisdiction, territorial jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction, but the master teachers that he was listing, he said that they never say which one that we as Moors are up under. And I'm like, yo, Moors been teaching status for years. Now, if you didn't get the lesson that status means a state, and you didn't have the common sense to connect a state with territorial jurisdiction, I don't know what, you might need remedial classes, but don't act like you wasn't told. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like you wasn't told, because Noble Drew Ali also told you what the territorial jurisdiction was in chapter 47. Moore's been saying this for years. So if you didn't connect that lesson or you don't get it, okay, then you might be you might need remedial classes. Go back and pay attention. Recheck your files. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not studying, we couldn't expect anything else but an ignorant statement to come out of an unstudied person. You feel me? So ignorance of the law is never an excuse. You got to know that too. That's a maxim. That's law 101. You know what I mean? That's law 101, is that not knowing it is not an excuse. And that when Moors are talking status, which means a state, yeah, it means your condition to the community, that's nice, but it means a state. It also means a state. So, you know what I'm saying? Whether you be that lone wolf that you claim you want to be, etc., you know, one thing that it is relative to, as far as territorial jurisdiction is concerned, status of state. So if somebody's coming from Ireland here and they're not making certain arguments here in North America, or they're coming from Mexico, which is still family, but if they're coming from South, wherever they're coming from, the point is they can't make the arguments that Moors make, which makes Moors' situation so more unique, because Moors are saying, look, we are home. We are the Aboriginal people. It ain't no goddamn Indians that got the status to make a claim here that we can make here. Why? Because those quote-unquote Indians went through a naturalization process with the U.S. So, of course, they don't have the status or estate in North America to make that type of claim. Moors do, though. Our Moroccans, Americans, we do have the status or estate to make that claim. So, again, you're talking about a mindset of abundance versus a mindset of lack. They feel like they don't have anything, and to even compare us with other foreign nations automatically, in that regard, as far as law is concerned, shows you the ignorance. You know what I mean? Just like I know I'm an aboriginal to North America, North, South, Central America. Moor. I am an American, and, you know, proud to be one. More than a pilgrim who claims they are in the military, etc. We get it. We know that's the slogan. Proud to be American, right? That's what they say. And really, they're not. But I know that for a fact, I'm not going to go to Britain and claim the same rights as an Englishman, because I'm not English. You feel me? I know my Moorish history and that there's Moors who have history there, but, you know, that would never make me an Englishman, even like CCY was speaking on. You know, it really was no English people because England didn't even exist. It was Great Britain. So, you know, it is what it is, man. But that was a folly. That was an ignorant statement. That was an arrogant statement of, you know, I got talent, so I don't need to know law. Like, you jackass. You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. Who you think, like, you know, that's why when you sign the contracts, they have anybody with talents, whether your talent be cooking, whatever it is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you get hired, it's all about law. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to ask you to fill out some forms. And more than likely, the first couple forms they're going to have you fill out, they're going to ask you to waive your right or trial if anything was to jump off. You know what I'm saying? They'll say, look, all disputes are going to arbitration and not, quote, unquote, court. Like, these are lawful documents they're asking you to fill out. If you have a talent for cooking, the first thing, the form they want you to fill out is identity. What you mean you're not talking law? Because identity is in the law of evidence. How can you not know law? In that mind state is why most of our people are in the condition that they're in, because they got lazy and forgot that they was the lords of the land and that it was your progenitors, commonly known, you know, we the people, right? It was the people who were ordaining and establishing. So, you know, miss us with that, you know, studying law is a waste of time. That's not true. That's not true. If it's a many of people who, if they didn't know the law on the spot and had to enforce it on the spot, like, no, I don't consent to no search. You know what I'm saying? They would be in worse condition. So if people want to lullaby themselves to sleep in ignorance, that is a choice. But that's not wisdom. You feel me?
Oh, and
so yeah.
And again too, that with regard to this about, you know, they don't study law or whatever. They say they rep some Noble Drew Ali or whatever, but Noble Drew Ali said enforce Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land.
Exactly.
So if Noble Drew Ali is telling you and the supreme law of the land, and these Moors who are Moorish Science Temple of America, grand whoever's and members, and they're telling you, nah, don't listen to them RVBey and Taj Street Bay, whatever like that, because they teach law and all that, and that's not what Noble Drew Ali brought. Know who the sellout is and stop playing.
Yeah.
You can't play like you don't know who the sellout is.
Yeah. Moore's been put out.
After Sheldon L. slapped these clowns up, you hear them stop talking about Noble Drew Ali and Moors and all that stuff?
Exactly.
Why do you think they shut the hell up for? Why they shut the hell up for? After all this time.
Yep.
Right? Because the people start realizing who the sellout is and who the sincere is. And that's just what it is. What side do you want? You dealing with the sincere individuals that you can, you know what I mean, just call them up. You got to for 8 hours. Just because. Another Moor that sees you as their brother, sister, or whatever, and they don't mind building. Or you on the side of these arrogant, incompetent people who always have something to say about the people who actually take your calls, reply to your emails. You have something to say about us?
Yeah.
How's the ones doing the humanitarian work getting backlash by people who should be doing the humanitarian work.
Right.
And then the middle people are confused which side you're supposed to be on, so that we can change these conditions out here, because, you know, like we were saying, it's about status. And depending on your status, that would establish your position in society. So what's your status? Your status based on nationality? Is it based on a tribe? Is it based on some process, some European created? Which, again, speaking about that, the other kicking we have to do is the letter you got.
Yes, definitely want to get into that. So yeah, So yeah, it's,
I just realized I just realized it's 10:47.
No, he was going in. He definitely was going in. But yeah, I know we'll probably sometime during this next week coming up. I know we'll probably do a live on your channel and and get some more info out for sure. But yeah, man. So all right. Up notice today, and I was looking at it, and someone told me, check this out, because it came from some Moors with no appellation, no, denationalizing themselves. So these are people, again, going back to the followers, right? People who follow people who may not have been ready, because I'm going to read you the ridiculousness of this, and I just want to let everybody know this document is considered null and void. This concept is null and void. So it's a letter from somebody calling themselves Kisa George and Yazania Dasent. And these are people who are under the persuasion of Sean Henry, a.k.a. Nanya, Chief Nanya of the Yamasee, etc. And I'm speaking from a position of defending ourselves for the public record, because we have nothing to prove to these people. These claims are frivolous, is common barratry, and just ridiculous. And none of these things did RVBey publications admit. So, Kisia George, Yazania Dasent, this is a response to you. This is not the full response. But however, because you've included, you try to include everybody, I have a right to speak up, and I trust to do that well. So first point I want to rebut, it says, number one, RVBey Publications admits. Now, this is a contortion of words. This is malicious, because RVBey never said this or admitted this. It says RVBey Publications admits that they do not have proven with bona fide universal accepted procedures within their quote-unquote organization to show every member exactly how to free themselves from their corporate/commercial chattel slave status, nor their standing at law. Now, my thing is this, right? If you feel as though you're enslaved, don't be mad at the people who are showing you and giving you, or at least suggesting remedies to get out of that mental slavery, because slavery starts in the mind. If you feel as though you're enslaved by a corporate commercial chattel slavery, then you really need to take that argument and that animosity to the people who do actually have you in a corporate, commercial, or chattel slave status. And RVBey Publications is not the one who has anybody in a corporate, commercial, chattel slave status. So that's my rebuttal number one. Number two, it says RVBey Publications admits. So for the record, RVBey Publications did not admit this. There's no statement of this, and because you say a lie, it never makes it fact. A lie is a lie. Truth cannot change or pass away. So anything that was void ab initio cannot be made different by subsequent acts. So I don't know what you're talking about, but RVBey Publications, this is what it says in this false claim, these false accusations, frivolous, vexatious, right? I'm saying this, that these are frivolous, vexatious claims. It's basically common barratry. It's slander, malicious. It's not truth, and we don't stand for that. So it says, and I'm going to read it in full here. It says, number 2, RVBey Publications admits that every Moor associated and affiliated with them are still commercially classified as black, quote and slash African American. This is what they're claiming that we claim, like, which has no standing at law, unless they completed Standard Form 181 and faxed it to the Office Management and Budget in Washington, D.C. We never admitted that. We don't suggest that anybody do that. For the record, we are not classified as black. We know we're not black or African American. And for the record, if any records do exist stating that, those are void records and slanderous as well. So there you have it. For the record, we are not accepting or admitting that we are fictitious brands such as black, Negro, colored, and the compounding appellation or name of African American. Those are not things that we subscribe to, and anything outside of that is a violation of our freedom, because freedom includes self-determination, and that's all this is about. So no, we know we're not black. We know we're not African American. However, we do know that these are misnomers that have been placed on our people, and if we have to speak on these subjects, that's not a problem. However, we personally are not classified as that. And again, any records that state that are in violation of our 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, whereas freedom mentions self-determination. You can look that up in your Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary. If you have one, if you don't, I know you're just a follower and you're not a student and have no knowledge of what you're talking about, because a YouTube reference is not official to state that, because some wacko calling himself Chief Nanya Shabu Eo said that. I don't know where y'all get this stuff from, but I'll say this. It's a file. We pull his file. I'm not going to state the appellation. I know they'll talk about it when it's time. But his file has been pulled, and he's known for things and frivolous claims like this on other people, which is slanderous. He's a whack job. As a matter of fact, before I continue, I would like to read a file that was pulled on him in what they call newagefraud.org. Sean Henry, a.k.a. Nanya Shabu L, and at Sikhata Nation, or Clan of Yamasee Non-Moors, right? So it says this YouTube, they're giving a list of different videos who's basically showing him as a whack job. That's how they're making him out to be, right? So it says this YouTube video shows an Ashman in Fox, Muslim, Egyptian, Arabic, Turkish garb, and the related videos by them show similar Nation of Islam, Fox, Muslim, black supremacy nonsense. Now, when it says Fox, like F-A-U-X, Fox just means fake. I think it's French or Italian, but Fox means fake. So they're saying that he has fake Muslim black supremacy nonsense, fake history, and conspiracy theories. They have a confusing blizzard of websites online, lots of dubious docs, and claims that anytime a government doc says their name, it somehow proves recognition. And I wanted to take a point there, because it says that it, quote unquote, somehow proves recognition. And from reading that, I see that that's all this void claim is about, is wanting to be recognized. And to correlate with that, in number 9 on this specific document says, RVBey Publications admits that plenipotentiary Chief Nanya Shabu EIL Like, keep this in mind, EIL. And if you feel as though your name is copyrighted, we're stating for the record, we're saying it now in fair use because you're slandering and misleading people to believe that something is going on with us that's not, or have a total misconcept about the rights being exercised and enforced. So because you got the register, copyright, whatever, in fair use, we're calling your name out. Chief Nanya Shabu EIL, which apparently is corporate because I see the trademark signs and, you know, the copyright. So, okay. It says of Atsahada Nation of Yamasee Moors is publicly teaching, this is what they saying that we're saying or, you know, on the record is saying that this is what RVBey Publications is saying and admits. We don't subscribe to this. Anyway, it's saying this guy at Atsahada Nation of Yamasee Moors is publicly teaching the indigenous Moors practical methods to establish their true standing as indigenous and fully recognized internationally. Moors have been recognized internationally for centuries. We can go back to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship and beyond that. So, you know, it's nothing he's saying that, you know, we recognize as being superior than anything that came before him. You know, so I don't know what he's talking about, but no, for the record, RVBey Publications is not in compliance or in agreement with that. And, you know, the fact that you were like that on paper to say that RVBey Publications admits that Chief Nanya Shabu EIL, it's crazy. You're just looking for recognition. So hold on, for the record, for those listening online, the live feed is going to go down in about 1 minute. If you want to call in, the guest call-in number is 319-527-6751. Hour online. If not, you can check it out tomorrow in the archives. Also check out the brother Najib L's YouTube page, and it'll be up there tomorrow, the last hour. So yeah, so basically, you know, this dude is saying that him, quote unquote, Chief Nanya is that RVBey Publications is saying that he's the only one teaching indigenous Moors practical methods to establish their true standing as indigenous and fully recognized internationally. That's his claim. And to me, it correlates dearly and sincerely with what they're claiming on newagefraud.org on Sean Henry, a.k.a. Nanya Shabu L, where it says they have a confusing blizzard of websites online, lots of dubious docs, and claims that anytime a government doc says their name in it, somehow proves recognition. So again, you know, that correlates with the fact that, yeah, this man is looking to be validated and recognized, but, you know, it is what it is. It says this one is a long list of complaints about a legal case. They put a link here. It says this is a long list of complaints about a legal case, but it's hard to make out who did what and what they claim. At one point, they even sent the facts to G.W. Bush, the man that he shut down the county gov in Georgia, in this one. And then they give a couple of links here. It says, hold on, let me get back to this real quick. Now, this is another one. Excuse me. This is in reference to who is, quote unquote, Sean Henry, a.k.a. Nanya Shabu L. It says Sean Henry was born in Edmonton and moved to Toronto at the age of 17 years. From there, Sean became involved in a cult-like organization and lived illegally in the United States for 10 years until returning home to Canada as a brainwashed drone. This is not my words. These are the files that are on him, public record. So it says Sean was a member of this cult for 10 years until the cult leader was jailed in 2004 for child molestation. The cult members were removed from their compound, and Sean was left to fend for himself with no education or work history. Sean is still under the influence of the cult and proclaims that he has godlike powers. As such, he feels he is not human as well as exempt from the laws of our country. This is what they're saying, not me. Since being deported to Canada by U.S. immigration officials, Sean, aka Nanya, has been a nuisance to family and former friends and a financial burden to his own mother. Sean feels he is exempt from paying child support and has never paid a cent to support his teenage daughter. Instead of working, Sean spends his days emailing, faxing, and sending packages filled with meaningless gibberish to people who couldn't care less about his delusional existence. Sean feels that he has an audience in the Prime Minister, Queen, Pope, CCY, I don't know who that is, but it says International Criminal Court, and others. Sean has been declared a vexatious litigant by the Court of Queen's Bench of Alberta for the relentless harassment of his uncle, and he has also faced a criminal trial for mischief. A peace bond, which was supposed to prevent Sean from posting libelous and slanderous material on the web, has had no effect on his behavior. Sean was diagnosed by a forensic psychiatrist as being seriously mentally ill, yet our quote-unquote healthcare and legal system released Sean on a promise to take mediation. My guess is that he's not taking that medication. I don't know if that's a typo that was supposed to be a promise to take medication, but you know what I'm saying? They're saying that their guess is he didn't take his medication, and then they posed the question, what do you think? Chief L, or, a.k.a. Sean Henry, is a frequent litigant in Canadian courts and has been the subject of some discussion in the following decision on organized pseudo-legal commercial arguments. And then they give a link here to Alberta courts, a reference from 2003 to 2012, and it says, see in particular paragraphs 189 through 196. It appears he is a Canadian citizen who moved to the United States and then became involved in the quote-unquote Moorish movement. He was subsequently deported to Canada and now lives near Edmonton. This summer, he was arrested after assaulting a court sheriff and is now in custody awaiting trial. I don't know about this, but this is what the article is saying. It says, while it looks like someone advancing ideas, this bazaar should be a lone nut. It seems Chief L is in a fight with other members of the Moorish movement over who has the authority to demand money from the quote-unquote followers. Now, this is an article, and in this, they're dating back to 2012, right? So you can see clearly that people are basically on a power trip, whatever side it comes from. Again, me personally, I have no firsthand knowledge of his court cases or any of that. I'm just saying that the profile on this man, that they're saying that RVBey Publications admits is right and exact, is not in any way or fashion. His credibility is not approved by RVBey Publications. RVBey Publications doesn't admit to any of that. We have nothing to do with what he's doing. It's frivolous as far as we're concerned on the claims he's having followers try to make on us. It's vexatious. So again, this is a response to Keisha George and Yazania Dasent and whoever else feels like them, and whatever frivolous, foundationless claims you're trying to make. This is where it's at. So it says 3, Speaker Representative Drake, going back to this letter of Keisha and Yazania Dasent. It says Speaker -- Representative James Traficant Jr., Ohio addressed the House has stated the Republic of the United States of America has been dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act, March 9, 1933, 48 Statute 1, Public Law 89-719, declared by President Hoover as being bankrupt and insolvent, HJR 192, 73rd Congress in session, June 5, 1933, joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the Gold Clause, dissolve the sovereign authority of the United States in the officials' capacities with all United States government officers in departments, and is further evidence that the federal government exists today in name only. How many times have Taj read that? How many times have that's on the site? Like, come on. I'm not saying nothing we don't know, but this is the ridiculousness of it. It says RVBey Publications admits that they teach the because again, these are false accusations, just for the record. RVBey Publications admits that they teach the constitutional principles, articles, while accepting Federal Reserve notes, aka fiats, from privately owned, unconstitutional corporations, which is one of the highest forms of treason being practiced. And again, they give some reference from this dude Nanya. But what struck me strange is these are the same people who spent 15 notes and 86 cents to send this mail. But you're going to accuse us of treason. This is not any, stamp, shortcut, or none of that. These people on here, it says 1586 to mail this, but you're going to accuse RVBey Publications of treason because Federal Reserve notes were accepted or utilized or whatever. But come on, man, everything is going digital. So what are you talking about? Shut up. You know what I'm saying? Really, like y'all sound ridiculous with this. And even if so, who made an offer of substance outside of that? Nobody. So what you hating on? Really, what are you hating on? Because whatever principles y'all are dealing in, including what Nanya is saying, because these are followers. These aren't leaders speaking. Somebody is telling them to say this. And that's the same dude that they got listed as Sean Henry, a.k.a. Nanya Shabu L, right, who is noted already for wanting recognition. I don't know if his parents gave him enough attention when he was young or didn't give him enough attention. Now he's seeking that validation from the people. I don't know. But this is sick stuff to look for specific validation outside of yourself to the point you will lie on other people about them admitting things they clearly didn't admit. And then also hitting on maybe their financial stream. I don't know if yours is that well and you feel like you could just, institute vexatious, frivolous litigations or whatever it is you're trying to do because of whatever it is you feel about yourself needing recognition. But RVBey Publications doesn't admit anything that they're claiming. RVBey Publications does not validate this person that they're claiming as Chief Nanya Shabu E-I-L, not E-L, E-I-L. Not even, he didn't even switch it to Ali or like Eli. Like, he scrambled it to E-I-L. Facts. You know what I'm saying? But this is where I felt.
Quick fast.
Yeah.
Because you said E-I-L now. Remember, you can go back to 2012 when we did the Skype with him and he was a L, E-L. Now,
right,
he's E-I-L now, right?
Yeah.
The colon, hyphen, colon, and all that BS comes from David Wynn Miller. For people who might not know, David Wynn Miller, the truth language, and BS that some European was doing, creating some language so that once you use that, you're out of their jurisdiction. Another European process stuff that these individuals were on.
Right.
Remember, 2012 was the same time that the people brought out the freaking Sean Henry, a.k.a. Nanya Shabuel info.
Right.
Remember, 2012 was the same time when we did the Skype with him, and he was talking that BS about the Constitution being suspended. And don't listen to Taj RVBey and all that. Right? Just like what you're saying, trying to get some popularity. trying to make a name for themselves, lying on people.
Yeah. RVBey Publications. Yeah. RVBey Publications never admits that. It's not validated. And for the record, it is esteemed a frivolous claim. Hold on, let me see. Yeah. All right, so it's another one I wanted to look. I was looking to address. I should have highlighted it. Hold on. Oh yeah. Okay, so look, let me just say these ones. So number 7, right? I want to go to. Number 8. It says RVBey Publications admits that the Moors, minister, teachers, sheiks, grand sheiks, and adepts are not teaching Moors the necessity of being collectively acknowledged by the United Nations, although the UN is the quote-unquote family of nations with whom we, the Moors, are commanded to realign ourselves by Noble Drew Ali. Excuse me. That being the case, Moors, if you look at any documentation, we already know what it is as far as the international court. That's a fraud. That's a fraud statement. Moors have been recognized as far as what we know of. Moors are getting into these quote-unquote United Nations buildings with their nationality cards. Moors been in there. Shout out to the brother Malik. You know what I'm saying? Who got in there with his Alodio American nationality card with our Moorish or American or Al-Moroccan flag on it and the cedar tree. You understand? Like, got in the United Nations with that. So I don't know what he's talking about as far as not being recognized by the United Nations. The United Nations gave us everything we needed already as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sure this could be added on to. But what else did they need to say when they came out with the Universal Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People? They recognized everything that we needed to protect ourselves. We're not beggars. Noble Drew Ali told us don't be a beggar nation. You know what I'm saying? If they don't want to do certain things or whatever, it's whatever. But we was taught that Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, and, we're not supposed to be a beggar nation. So if anybody was rejected by them, it is not like they're begging them and seeking out their favor or validation like Nanya is, you feel me, or Sean Henry or whoever he thinks he is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying, Chief? So, that's a fraud statement, because already we link back to the family of nations when we start standing on these principles. Now, people not standing on the principles of, Declaration of Human Rights and, the rights of indigenous people, that's their choice. But that information is made available via RVBey Publications. So that's fraud. You know what I'm saying? When the United Nations or the Universal Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People came out, that was a recognition of Moors. Why? Because they're talking about the rights of indigenous people. And we have many texts to back up that Moors are the Aboriginal indigenous people of North, South, and Central America, in Africa, in Asia, or Alkebalan in Asia. So, you know what I mean? At the beginning and end of the day, hold on. Yeah, and that's true too. Y'all need to be really careful because, when they're doing these things, they're committing libel when they say that, RVBey Publications admits or says or whatever. That's slander. That's libel, and it's reduced to writing. So watch yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Watch yourselves. Really, What else? It says, this one is really ridiculous to me, which is numeration 11. I know I'm jumping from point to point, but I am covering them all. It's just these are main ones I want to highlight to make sure we get this in. So in numeration 11, it says out of 12, it's only 12 in numeration. But numeration 11, it says RVBey, again, I want to preface the statement that I'm reading, what they libelously wrote, right? It says, RVBey Publications admits that the pyramid / Great Seal on the Federal Reserve notes is the property of the Moors, but no one of the recognized ministers, masters, teachers, sheiks, grand sheiks of adepts have filed a complaint under international law for theft or the Moors' intellectual property. And then they go to some other claim, Nation of Yamasee Moors, response to Dr. Alim El Bey. Now, this is the sickening part, because actually it was a Moor who authorized or designed what you call the Great Seal for them to utilize. So what you mean they don't have permission to use it? Whenever you talk about a United States de jure republic government, right, we know we're not United States citizens, but they can't even, it's no way they should be having anything, you know, without the Great Seal Pyramid on it. Why? Because Moors were the ones who allowed them to establish the government. So if they're showing you that that's the Great Seal, right, if it wasn't for that, a lot of people would still be asleep. And it was a Moor who authorized that particular design. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on this particular point at this particular time, but I believe it was John Hanson who authorized that design. Am I mistaken? If I'm not, if I
no,
am...
you're not, Moor. No, you're not. Right. You're not. You're straight.
Right. So who they called John Hanson, who was a Moor, right, put this design together for what you call the United States today. So they shouldn't be recognized. It's no way they should be recognized without recognizing the Great Seal. Meaning that these people could blatantly tell you, look, this is the superior seal. We all know who built pyramids. There's no, quote-unquote, massive pyramids in Egypt. In Europe. Pardon me, y'all. That was an error. So let me correct myself again. There's no massive pyramids like that in what they call Europe that are glorified or deified like you know them to be in what you call Egypt, in South America, and even places in North America, low-key. You know, so North, South, Central America, we know that these are the places of the Great Seal and, you know, Giza, all of these places, even, you know, Kush, all of these places, you know, all of these are Moors. This is our symbol of civilization, of which they learned from Moors through masonry, because whenever you see a pyramid with bricks, you're automatically talking true operative masonry, which is what makes the world go round, because if it wasn't for operative masonry, you wouldn't have a shelter. You wouldn't have a place to stay. You know what I mean? So these are significant this is the foundation of society, building and having places for shelter and other things. You know we were showing off building the pyramids. I know we could have probably done more massive and greater things than that, but we were showing off, I believe, because there's a lot of people who can't get that right today. So acknowledgement to those Moors who built the ancient pyramids out of stone, out of bricks, out of all of these, out of the mud of the earth, sun-baked clay. You know what I'm saying? And the European would be in dishonor if they didn't have that Great Seal somewhere in their documents to be recognized as, you know, the Great Seal of the quote-unquote United States. You know what I'm saying? So anything else than that would be a dishonor. So I don't get it when they're talking about, you know, the pyramid. You know, RVBey Publications admits that the pyramid / Great Seal on the Federal Reserve notes is the property of the Moors, but no one of the recognized ministers, masters, teachers, sheiks, grand sheiks, or adepts have filed a complaint under international law for theft or of the Moors' intellectual property. See, that will be called common barratry or frivolous lawsuits. Because if you knew your history, you would know that our ancestors authorized them to use that great seal as a symbol of good faith. Why? Because the first nation to recognize the United States was Morocco, as President Obama told you. So if they're paying homage and showing you, you know what I'm saying, and people are still ignorant and sleep to the fact that that's the seal that's yours, you understand, then I don't know, because it's a paper, it's a note, meaning that it's a writ. The Federal Reserve note is a writ, and it's a claim on that writ. It's a claim on that writ. It's a claim on it that it's a Federal Reserve note, but before they called it a Federal Reserve note, they had the gold certificates, they had the silver certificates, they had all of these different types of notes and certificates, basically writs, acknowledging something. You know what I'm saying? And at first, yeah, it was legal tender or to be cashed for silver, or, you know, the gold certificates, you would get gold from it. If you have a problem with not having gold circulating, then you need to take that up and do something about it. And your adversary, trust and believe, is not RVBey Publications. RVBey Publications does not have enough gold to circulate throughout the United States as a medium of commerce. So to even expect that type of expectation is unreasonable. Now, if you come and you're making your offering in gold and silver because, you know, you feel like that's the right way to go because the Federal Reserve note is worthless, I'm sure something can be arranged where your gold and your silver will be accepted if that's what you have to offer. And not that that's what we're saying, but I'm just saying, you know, to put that burden on us. We know a lot of our people don't have that particular resource to utilize as a medium of exchange. So, you know, Moors can trade in whatever they agree to, and that's the bottom line. So, you know, to act like Moors are treasonous because they're getting Federal Reserve notes and, you know, all of these things, that's frivolous, that's childish, is very vexatious, is very malicious, and it has no standing in law. So, you know, whatever they're saying about RVBey Publications, if RVBey Publications did admit that, they haven't filed a complaint under international law for theft of the Moor's intellectual property. You know, it will be, I don't, you know, in that regard, I don't even know what to say to frivolous claims like that. Like, it ain't like if they went to the, to make a complaint tomorrow, you know, that it would have any logical standing to go before a court and say, oh, well, because you got our Great Seal Pyramid on there giving us recognition, you stole our intellectual property for recognizing us, and we want to sue you for using that. And at the same time, we know that it was a Moor who allowed you to use that. Like, all of that is frivolous. That's sick. That's mental illness that you're expecting. So I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? And these other points, I really want to leave it to maybe Tuesday's blog talk, if everybody is with it, so everybody can speak their piece on this. I just know those were things that I wanted to touch on, basically because, you know, when they say everybody with RVBey admits this and they admit that, you know, that's just crazy. Yeah, because they say, oh, yeah. Again, back to enumeration 2, it says RVBey Publications. Now, again, this is libel, but this is what they're saying. It says RVBey Publications admits that every Moor associated and affiliated with them are still commercially classified as black. And I'm a Moor, and these are my peoples, and I know for a fact that that's not the case. I personally walked into quote-unquote courtrooms, and the prosecutor knew me from 11, 12 years ago. And she's like, oh, yeah, I know you're a Moor. And, yeah, no, it's nothing on your record. He's good. You hear me? So I don't know what these people are talking about. But I know that from our civic engagements, they bring back, oh, look, man, I don't even want to sound braggadocious, but they know off top that they like, yeah, that's some more. It ain't even nothing to try to show and prove. They're like, yeah, we know you're more. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the conversation. Yeah, no, we already know you're more. Like, they're not even talking about being black or African American. Like, they're saying this. And again, for us who do follow, who do activate and heed and operate off the lessons of Noble Drew Ali, you know, from what he was saying, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of his people and his citizens. And the standard form, or SF 181, is something that comes under United States Code, I believe it's 1943, which is still dealing with the 14th Amendment. So, you know, as far as what they're claiming about Standard Form 181 supposing to be faxed to the Office Management and Budget in Washington, D.C., we don't know what you're talking about. What's your name? Kisa George, Yazania Dasent, and whoever your leader guy is, your chief, Sean Henry, a.k.a. Chief Nanya Shabu EIL. You know, and again, he's being called out in fair usage, even if you do have a copyright. This is fair use because y'all have been libeling and slandering RVBey publications for a while. And these are not the only ones. You know what I'm saying? There's more that could be called out. I don't have them all in front of me, but basically, this is the energy that they're coming with. Their leader guy is somebody who's been classified as needing medication, and I'm not sure if they're on it. I don't know. Again, this is what articles about him say. Just like these people are lying on us, Kisa George and Yazania Descent and Sean Henry, a.k.a. Nanya Shabu EIL. You know, we don't know what your situation is, but I do know that from what's been said, it's adding up that you're just looking for recognition and notoriety, and you're making frivolous claims. Nobody here is classified as black or African American. And again, if anybody is classified as under those jurisdictions, that's a violation of our freedom. That's also libelous, and they're subject to suit as well for misrepresenting, you know, or infringing on our self-determination. So that's what I have to say about that specific situation at this particular time. You know, and these claims just have no standing. And, you know, if you're trying to do anything outside of that, we esteem it as common barratry and libel. So, you know, watch what you say and watch what you put in writing, because, you know, if y'all are into being pseudoologists, then that is what it is. But don't put us in the midst of that. If you're upset at the Europeans and you feel like you can't argue with them and you want to argue with us, or you want to argue with whoever, you know, I suggest you recalibrate yourself, realign yourself, and prepare yourself for what's real opposed to delusional and illusional. And everything in here is definitely delusional. And it's just a sad state and significant marker of affairs when people are being led by other people who are delusional. So if y'all are being followers and also following a delusional person, then I believe that the only thing that can come out of that is in order. It's no order that can come from that. So this is why we're getting frivolous claims, slander, and things of that nature. You know, so with that being said, for now, bro, I yield the floor if you want to add anything on. And maybe we'll all have copies by Tuesday and can speak further on these other enumerations. But I just wanted to point out more than half of them are flawed. All of them are flawed. They're all libelous, but I just wanted to point that out for the record.
There's a lot more. No, I'm straight, bro. But that was a good little beat down on those 3 ones right there.
Yeah.
People are serious. Yeah. And then also too, remember, you know, once they're pulling that thing about admit, you know, they're basically saying, you know, acknowledge acknowledging guilt. Like recognizing that you're doing some messed up whatever, but not putting it under them that they're doing messed up stuff. Put it on other people.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff, bro. That's sickening, bro. So, you know, we don't see those as having any standing, but for the public record, if that's what's being claimed, we don't know who's, you know what I mean, what's going on. But we just know it's not coming from a credible source, and it makes absolutely no sense as far as we are concerned, and it definitely has no valid standing, and that's what we stand on. So, you know, if anybody else feels some type of way, you know, that's on them, man. I don't know what else to say. You know? But Islam, yeah. So this is the type of slander and dirty Moors that are out here strictly off the strength of looking for recognition, bro. Like, that's crazy, bro. Like, crazy. And then their whole profile is based off of trying to be validated and recognized. So I don't know what their mental issues are, but I just know that we're not in concurrence, we're not in agreement. Nobody consents to that. And, you know, just because claims are made doesn't make them valid. I know it's let me see if I can pull this reference real quick. Man.
One reference you could put out with regard to what they're trying is Gangstar, just to get a rep.
Just to get a rep. Yeah. Yeah. And as it says in the John Bouvier's Concise Encyclopedia of Law under Rights and Claims, it talks about claims may be made and established by law which are wrong in themselves and destitute of a corollary obligation. They are like every other wrong done by society or government. They prove nothing concerning the origin or essential character of rights. And that's basically what this claim is. It's destitute of a corollary obligation. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't prove anything, you know, concerning the origin or essential character of rights. Nothing in there proves or anything that RVBey Publications is violating anybody's rights by the accusations that they made. This is just them crying to try to act like, it really is them trying to take a position. It's an ego trip. It's an ego trip because to say something like, they admit that every Moor associated and affiliated with them are still commercially classified as Black and African American. We like, y'all are not paying attention. We've been teaching this for the longest time, that, you know, you're not Negro, Black, and colored, and African American, etc. Yeah, you know, there's certain references that are made where out in the world, that's how they're referring to people. That's how they're referring to Moors, but we know the difference, and we always break it down. We know who we are. Accepting Federal Reserve notes in these days doesn't make RVBey Publications treasonous. It doesn't make anybody's rights violated. And at the same time, you're using these same Federal Reserve notes to mail us this bull crap. You know what I'm saying? So doesn't that make you treasonous? Shouldn't you be mad at the post office or something because they can't take your gold and silver, or maybe you don't have any to offer? Like, you know, what's your problem? Really? You know what I'm saying? What is your problem? You need to deal with that. Because if that's what you're mad about, you know what I'm saying, you got some other issues. You got some other issues that you need to take up with somebody else, but we're not the adversaries. And we won't be going to make any frivolous claims like, you know, the corporate U.S. can't use the Federal Reserve note on the back of the Federal Reserve note. Like, we look at the Federal Reserve note, that's also a teaching tool. What are you talking about? Why would you want that out of circulation when they're telling you right on there that's the Great Seal, and we know that. And we know the history of the establishment of the United States had everything to do with Moors. Again, check the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Check out Obama's speech when he's telling you the first nation to recognize his country, or the United States, it was Morocco. Bottom line, it was Morocco. And that's just what it is. So, you know, come on, man. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say to this childish stuff. But people are being followers and totally strayed away from Noble Drew Ali, man. That's the real truth. And with that, I yield the floor. I don't know what else to say for tonight, man.
It's up, Moor. Ain't nothing else to say, bro.
Nothing else to say.
What was said is what had to be said. You know, and that's that.
Exactly. So with that being said, I don't know if you want to make any announcements in closing out, then, you know, let's do that. If not, you know, we'll it's definitely Sisters Standing on Law this Sunday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Sisters Standing on Law will be going in. I don't know if there's anything tomorrow. I doubt it. I don't know what's tomorrow. Yeah, there's none of our broadcasts going on tomorrow unless you're going live tomorrow. But besides that, maybe we could look forward to something on Monday, a live stream going in on this a little bit more, but definitely Tuesday, MHHS Eyes Wide Open Blog Talk Radio will be back on with all four hosts, and we more than likely will discuss this a little further, where everybody gets to speak their piece if they want to, because honestly, this doesn't even deserve a response. But I had to put it out there because this is what they're putting in the ethers and having followers believe. Not just people, but followers. This is what they're believing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying a call out to the followers, wake up and become leaders of yourselves and analyze these things. So, you know, that's really important and imperative aspect. You know, because if you're following, you could be led astray. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to follow us. You don't have to follow RVBey publications. You don't have to follow Instagram, none of that. But just follow your intuition. How about that? Follow, you know, your right knowledge. Follow what you know to be truth, not what somebody is trying to convince you to be truth. Like, if they can't show and prove, like, they're just making groundless claims, like, that really have no foundation in law, you know what I'm saying, then reconsider that, you know. And again, it's sad to say, because a follower might not even be able to distinguish the two, you know, because just because somebody puts on a crown with feathers on it and fox furs, and when I say fox furs, I mean fake furs, you know what I'm saying, that this doesn't make them holier than thou, this doesn't make them legit. Just because somebody holds up a sign with brown skin and starts claiming and screaming white power, none of that, all of that is surface, you know what I'm saying, the character of these people, because, again, you know, you got dirty Moors who have tried to take each other to court, and these are Moors with fezzes on. And what makes it sickening for me is that, you know, when we look up the definition of court, it's wherever the sovereign is at, right? So, but that's not how they look at it. They look at it like, oh, we got to get the pilgrim, you know, involved and all of this. This is how some people think. You know, even back when Noble Drew Ali was on the scene, you had Moors doing that sickening activity as if they weren't their own nation. So again, it's self-hatred. it's ignorance. They're not dealing with knowledge itself. So, you know, I'm gonna leave it at that for tonight, and all I can say is thank everybody for tuning in. We'll elaborate it on it more. Oh no, excuse me, I'm tripping. My fault. We still had 2 callers. Hopefully we could just get them in real quick. My fault. I was on a whole nother than that. Yeah. My bad, yo. I just was like, yo. My fault. So caller 704-241. You're live on the air, fam. Are you with us?
Islam, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right,
Islam,
all right.
we can hear you. Mm-hmm.
All right, word. This is my appellation is RVBey. I'm out of North Carolina Republic, South Carolina Republic, that area. Right now I'm in Maryland territory, doing some work, finishing a basement. But I keep y'all listening to me while I'm working. You know what I'm saying? I don't get a lot of time to study because I'm working on my house too. But just wanted to say, you know, when I came into this movement, came out of the church. My father was a preacher. My grandfather was a preacher, uncles, all that stuff, okay? I had then got into the ministry, you know, youth ministry of the church in another state, you know what I'm saying, doing all this kind of thing. Please, give honors to Noble Drew Ali and Cujo, Ms. Ram, and give honors to you on your show. I appreciate everything y'all do. Like I said, came into the movement, and like I said, I always work with the youth. It gave me an issue, you know, even when I preach for churches and stuff. But they gave me an issue constantly at the church, not the pastor or his assistant, but the deacons and all that stuff, because the things that I was teaching, because even then, I always did study. You know, so I do my study, I do diligence. You know, study, show yourself, prove. I keep that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when I bring up stuff, you know, just like it come out, and I do my study outside of the Bible, you know, get what the culture was at the time, all this. So, you know, I bring on things about the day that they choose to worship. You know, I bring up Christmas stuff. Like my child and my children came in the church with me. They asked me to come to this Christmas celebration. And I was like, nah, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But just come out. I know you don't do it. I just come out. Okay. My 4-year-old daughter, when I come in, she looks and she says, Daddy, they don't know God. They got a Christmas tree over there and all this stuff. So it's like, you know, I get this to my children. You know, so it's me. So I ended up leaving that area. You know, when I keep doing my study, I did my studying into the, you know, the inception of the church and all that stuff. I had done did all that. That's part of why I left. Okay, I'm seeking out things, and I own a barber school, barber shop, and at the time, and got brought, you know, bring the DVDs and all this stuff. I said, don't bring me nothing unless it's information, you know, get documentaries, all that. Somebody brought me Taj. This funny looking character with this crazy hairdo and this funny hat on. I think at the time, like, but he dropping some stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that pulled me right in. You know what I'm saying? So when they talking about y'all, you know what I'm saying, I was 30-something. I was over 30 years old, 33 or something like that, matter of fact. At the time when I got wind of this information. You know what I'm saying? I ain't ever heard of nothing about no Moors except for in the history book, and they skipped over it so fast it didn't resonate anything in my mind. You know what I'm saying? I took history in high school in the summertime so that I wouldn't have to take it during the school year because it was boring. You know what I'm saying? Until I found one history teacher here had been to all these places in Egypt. He was Gupta, one of us. He was more like us, and it excited me. Okay, and so then I continued in. I went to school for political science, you know, all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Before doing this church thing and all that stuff. So it came up on me, and so I'm like, I'll be blind, deaf, and dumb right now, and thinking I know something. if it wasn't for the platforms that you guys put out there. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it gave me much bliss, you know, to be able to take, I hate to say take advantage, but to be accommodated by your platform. And like I say, it's much respect for you and all you're doing. Anna Edel, you know, RVBey, you know, all of that, everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, Jonathan Bay, all of, you know, I get down with everybody. And one thing I wanted to bring up, though, is that, you know, I do a lot of reading and stuff, and I'm not one, even when I was in the church, to pull out the scripture and the name, what number and all that stuff is. But something to say about when somebody comes to you with some nonsense, the people who out here who doing their due diligence, who out here and they're taking what you have to offer to them and as a base for their further education, or if that's all they're getting. You know what I'm saying? They know what the deal is. I know what the deal is. You know, and it's like, it's a shame that so much time and effort and I understand the attacks and all that stuff is put into trying to dismiss these characters that's coming at you, because they're going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming. When you're doing something right, they're always going to come. You ain't got no haters, then you know you ain't doing nothing to be hated on. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, also, I would like to say a workman worthy of his hire, all that good stuff. You know, but it's like when you have these other people out here and these dirty Moors out here that's doing the stuff that they doing, and they trying to knock Taz, trying to knock Cujo, trying to knock all that stuff, knock all us, you know, for putting out the right and exact information, going into depth, going further into, you know what I'm saying, then that's just the darkness showing you that you're right. That's making you shine more. You know what I'm saying? That's just, you know, like I said, duality. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't no darkness, you wouldn't understand a lot. You know what I'm saying? Same by that reference. And all I want to say is to be peace be unto you. You know what I'm saying? And don't let this nonsense, you know, catch you up. And because man, I had my alarm on. I was mad because I set my alarm for 9:45 instead of 8:45, but I caught it. You know, I caught myself. I got it about 9:30. You know what I'm saying? But you know, this is something, because I've been really looking forward to this. I do, like I say, I work, I build, I do everything in the house. You know what I'm saying? And then I go home and I'm rebuilding my whole house because it had termites. My grandfather built the house. So I'm building the whole thing over. I'm in my third year there, you know. And so it's like I'm looking forward to getting the information. I want to hear some stuff about commerce and trade and how to keep the brothers in line and what Drew Ali had to say about this and what's in the Circle 7 on that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? So these haters out here, they're going to be there. Don't waste your energies. Don't put too much of your energies into that, because they're always going to be there. I've been a fly guy all my life, you know what I'm saying? Not trying to be. When I prayed, I always prayed, thank you. That was my prayer. I didn't ever ask for nothing. Thank you, gratitude. But, you know, things came to me. People liked me, you know what I'm saying? And then I had haters. For what? I used to wonder, why do people, you know, I just got a lady come up to me because, like, I had a shop in the barber school. A lady told me she had never got flowers before. So I had this guy, you know, one of us, he'd come through on a bicycle, flower bucket. You know, I always buy some flowers from him. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I had half of my clientele was women. You know, I did the eyebrows and all that stuff, you know. And, you know, randomly, I would give somebody flowers. And I'd say, never say you never got flowers from nobody no more before. The lady came up to me and amped off, and it's like, for what? I just did a nice deed. I ain't asked her, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But it's like those things going to come to you when you're doing what's right. You know what I'm saying? It's going to come. So I'm just giving you some encouragement right now on that, because man, if people who really out here trying to get on the show, that's checking your information, we don't want to hear that nonsense because it's nonsense. Don't waste your time with them haters, man. Hopefully the next platform, if you somebody do have something to say about this stuff, then it'd be curt. It'd be very curt because it's more important things out here. We got doggone to uplift this nation. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Constitutional principles and whatnot. And I can understand, okay, came at you with some paperwork and all that stuff. And yeah, you feel like, sometimes it'll get onto our ego a little bit and we be feeling ourselves a little bit like, hold up. No, you can't get at me like that. But, sometimes like that, then you got to, pull back like it's sure. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You know how he was. You know what I'm saying? He ain't coming up. I came not to tear down, but to build up. You know what I'm saying? So
we definitely
paraphrasing on that one, but you feel though, and I yield the floor on that.
Islam Noble, thank you for calling in and speaking your piece. We appreciate you greatly. We're going to take the last caller for the last couple minutes of the show, and we thank everybody for tuning in and adding on. Peace, Noble.
Islam. Oh, should I push the button again to get off the queue or what?
Oh, nah, you good. I mean, you could. I got you, though.
Hey, that's what's up. Islam.
All right. Peace, Noble One.
Islam.
Peace.
Peace. Islam. Caller 214-565. You're live on the air. You with us? Caller 214-565. All right. So I guess that's that. Sorry we cut the brother off on his wisdom, but was trying to give caller 214-565 a chance to speak their piece. Hopefully they call back in. We got Sisters Standing on Law this Sunday. I know Cool Joe, as usual, you'll be doing your live stream for class, and then Monday, and then, of course, we got Tuesday as well. So with that being said, yeah, man, we thank everybody for tuning in. I'll let you close us out. Noble, anything you want to say in closing?
Islam, just, honors to the platform. Because without MHHS, you already know where we'll be at. I want to give honors to Noble Drew Ali, of course. Giving him his honors, and as well all the listeners and the people who eventually going to hear this. Islam to you. And Islam to you too, Ms., and give thanks for everything that you're doing.
Likewise, Noble thanks. Islam to you, all Canaan Land Moors, all Moors worldwide, and thank you, man, because in my own right, we've been inspired by each other. So, it's a lot of work to still achieve and put in, and that's what we're doing. Not trying to do, like literally doing it. And I look forward to it, man. So again, definitely check in and subscribe to Mantis Views 29. We definitely have some serious stuff coming. So with that being the case, I don't want to speak on too much, but definitely some serious works in the mix. So I appreciate you all for supporting, liking, subscribing, man. We got over 2,000 subscribers and 46 videos, well, 48 now, but and counting, actually. So I just thank you all, man, and everybody who did support. Shout out to all the Moors. Forget you dirty Moors or you Moors haters. or you haters of the master teachers and RVBey publications, you know what I'm saying? I hope you get your mind right and, you know, do something better with your time. But I felt compelled to acknowledge or address, or rebut some of the things being said because it was on my mind just coming across to me today. I usually wouldn't, you know, go that route. But like you said earlier, you know, it's time to start. It's time to start calling this stuff out because it's just ridiculous. It's hatred, which is the opposite of love in our 5 principles. So with that being said, I know we got about 3 minutes left. I guess I'll close this out with something slight. Let me see. You good? Any last minute announcements, or we good?
Yeah, we good, Moor. Peace and love to all Moors.
Peace and love to all Moors, Canaan Land Moors, everybody. Salute, and thank y'all for tuning in. All right.
Yeah, it's dedicated to all my homies locked down. Don't give up hope. Keep your mind focused. Trigger happy passage. Strong. Come on, take these bars and put them in your commissary. The Lord is deadly, gotta get your mind ready. Pay attention, you could be home by January. I like to welcome you to my law library. Take these bars and put them in your commissary. The Lord is deadly, gotta get your mind ready. Pay attention, you could be home by January. I like to welcome you to my law library. Hustlers who hustling, gun busters who squeezing, gangsters who eating, thieves who sneak thieving. If you still breathing, I like to welcome you to section 190.05 grand jury proceedings. You broke the law allegedly and you caught a case. You sitting in the cell with your hands on your face. The district attorney, they gotta get an indictment, so they take your case to the grand jury. You not invited. Now you can let the DA go and choose your fate, or you could go to the grand jury and plead your case. No less than 16 people, no more than 23, and paneled by a superior court. Understand me, gotta look them in the eyes, as simple as can be. Make them believe you innocent, you could be free. But you know it's always the flip side to every coin. The judge, the legal way, DA, they all join. And if you get indicted, keep a memory file, cause you gotta tell the same story when you go to trial. Adolescents, adults and juveniles, I hope you jotting this down. If you locked up for more than 120 hours, man, just wait. Cause without the disposition of a felony complaint or commencement of a hearing, they gotta open the gate and give you a R&R. That's your 180-80 date. This is just a briefing of the knowledge I possess. In the belly of the beast, they put you to the test. My law library, what chapter is next? Section 12010. Warrant of arrest, law library. Law library. Law library.
O'Reilly. Restore your vehicle's lost power by cleaning your entire fuel system with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner. Right now, buy one bottle and get one free at any of the 107 Atlanta area O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Keep your engine clean and improve performance with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.